All right, guys, welcome into a special Zeroween edition of the Doop podcast. Zero, we may change the name of this podcast next season. I'm thinking of making some changes to the format and everything, but we'll see. For now, we're going to keep it like this. Spooky season is upon us, but there's nothing scary about the Union season so far. They are the 2025 Supporters Shield winners. I can't believe I'm saying this. I doubted them. I even said, I think in an earlier episode this season, that I didn't think that they would actually win the Supporters Shield because I didn't think they could keep this up all season. But they pulled it off, finished with a miraculous record of 20 wins, just 8 losses, 6 draws, 66 points, 57 goals forward, and a league low 35 allowed for a goal differential of plus 22. Just an amazing season. Bradley Carnell took a bow. I was skeptical about going into this season. I think most people were, even hardcore MLS analysts were skeptical about how the Union would be this season. But what a turnaround it's been to win the Supporters Shield. Second ever Supporters Shield win, which is given to the team who finishes with the best record in the regular season. Now, MLS Cup is the one we want, of course, and the playoffs start tomorrow, Sunday, and we will be taking on the Chicago Fire. Now, before we get into that, let's just continue to talk about just the season overall and how this has been a well-oiled machine, very consistent team. The only game we really laid a complete egg in, I think, was the Vancouver game, obviously, when we lost 7-0 a couple weeks ago. That was embarrassing, to say the least. I thought losing that game was going to lose us the Supporters Shield, but we got help around the league and managed to hold on, and then winning against NYC to wrap it up. If we had won our final game against Charlotte, we would have finished with the best record in MLS and Union history, most points anyways. As it stands, this is second most. So still incredible season so far. And the Charlotte game, I thought was going to turn to another Vancouver one, but we turned it around. Yeah, we still lost 2-0, but I thought we dominated in the second half. We were just unlucky not to score. We had all these shots, these chances. Kalina stood on his head for Charlotte. We could have easily, against other goalies, we may have gotten away with a draw or even a win in that game. We were also not hitting the target with a lot of our shots. That didn't help. But we created so many chances and put so much pressure on them. So we got to take that form into the playoffs, really. Especially against the Chicago Fire team that is hungry and has a potent attack with Kuipers at the helm. Old friend Jack Elliott will be with the Chicago Fire, of course, captaining them. It's a best-of-3 round. After Chicago, they defeated Orlando in the wild card game 3-1. So Chicago will be taking us on Game 1 in Philly on Sunday. And then Game 2 would be in Chicago, I think, next Saturday. And then, if necessary, another game in Philly on Saturday as well. So, no telling how the series is going to go yet. I mean, it's going to be a tough matchup. I mean, we've done well against Chicago this season. I believe we have 2 wins against them out of 2 games, both shutouts. But, playoffs is a different beast. It's a different beast altogether. You have to bring that intensity, that urgency. And sometimes when teams bring that to us, that's where the Union struggle. We saw it against Vancouver. We saw it in the first half against Charlotte. The Union need to match that intensity and that urgency that some teams will bring. It's the playoffs. They have to do it. If they don't do it, they might find themselves in a hole early, and that's the last thing you want in a playoff game. So Chicago's got nothing to lose here. There's the first time they're really in the playoffs in a long time, winning a playoff game in a long time. They're going against Supporters Shield winners. The pressure's on us. Pressure's completely on us. They can go play free-flowing football and they could surprise some people. So not going to be an easy out. The Eastern Conference obviously stacked with teams like Cincinnati, Miami, Charlotte, NYC, Columbus, and even Chicago. It's going to be a very tough ask to get through and make it to the Cup. But after this, if we can get through this first round, best of 3, After that, it's just knockout games, and they would all be in Philadelphia. If we make the cup, this is getting ahead of ourselves, but if we make the cup, it's in Philadelphia, which would just be phenomenal to host the MLS Cup there at Subaru Park. Something I dream of seeing here. And I really want them to win. We know we were so close, a couple years ago against LAFC. It still pains me to think about that game and how it ended. But, do we have enough to put us over the top? Though, is Olowski that guy to put us over the top and get us that cup? He's been great since coming over here. He's very dynamic. He's been a game changer for sure. And hopefully we can continue to utilize him, especially with Quinn Sullivan now out the rest of the season. Of course, Quinn went down a couple weeks ago with an injury and is out now for the rest of the season. Thankfully, he had a successful surgery. But that's a huge loss, honestly. It really is. He was one of our leading creators and assist guys this season. A young player. He's always hungry and willing to take players on the dribble. That's where Olowski really has to step up now and be that guy. Because we don't have that without Quinn. So it's up to Olowski to kind of fulfill that role. And Olowski's a different kind of player for sure. He's more of a guy that will float inside. Quinn likes to get out wide. That's where he excels. But Olowski can kind of play anywhere along the front line and kind of interchange with, Baribo and everyone else. Looking like, Ua's been in good form. Damiani's been in good form. So that's good. It's nice to have Vasilev back healthy. He's been playing well. The team's looking really strong right now on all fronts. We got Carnell's up for Coach of the Year. Glesnes and Wagner up for Defender of the Year, who I think you could argue that Wagner should get it, or there's an argument for both players. We should win Defender of the Year, considering we had the best defense in the league. There's no reason why we shouldn't get it. It could go to Glesnes or Wagner, take your pick. Coach of the Year, yeah, Carnell has an amazing case, but so does San Diego's coach, so I don't know if we're going to take that award, but I wouldn't be surprised if Carnell got it. But Defender of the Year, for winning Supporter Shield, we have to win at least one of those awards. If it's not Coach of the Year, it's got to be Defender of the Year. If we don't win either of those, then that's a problem from the league, because they just aren't giving us enough love. They really don't. MLS has barely posted anything about the Union since winning the Cup. Like a few videos here and there, like, Union win Cup, and they don't say anything about it. We all know damn well if it was Miami that won the Supporters Shield, they wouldn't shut up about it. They would keep posting everything, like they did last year. They would just keep posting stuff. Oh, Messi, Miami, winning the Supporters Shield, winning the Supporters Shield. Here's what Messi had for breakfast the next day. It's like, you just saw right now, like Miami just won a game, playoff game, and they have like 10 posts about it already on their YouTube. And it's like, gosh, they really have their darling teams and players, don't they? If LAFC won the Supporters Shield or something, they would be getting the same treatment. So the Union, nobody's talking about the Union, but maybe that's a good thing. And Carnell said that in his post-game interview after winning Supporters Shield. He's like, nobody's paying attention to us, but that's okay. That's how we want it. Keep sleeping on us, Keep sleeping on the Union. Everybody thinks we're a bit of a joke, but look how consistent we were all season. We got to back it up. They know the goal's not done. The job's not done. It's all about MLS Cup. They celebrated for a day, Supporters Shield. Now they're back to focused on the real goal at hand, which is winning MLS Cup and these playoffs, which are going to be so hype. I cannot wait. I watched a bit of the Chicago-Orlando game. That was fun. Chicago looked really good in that. Miami, of course, beating Nashville in game one of their series with a couple, of course, Messi goals there. Nashville just doesn't ever seem to have an answer for Miami. And then I believe Portland took out Real Salt Lake in the other Western Conference, a knockout game, wild card game. So interesting series here. So Portland will take on San Diego, who got the top seed over in the West. the new team, San Diego. But I think the West, I think Vancouver or LAFC comes out of the West, in my personal opinion. But who knows? You can't sleep on Seattle, San Diego either. And I think a team like, Portland or Minnesota, kind of wild cards in there. And the East is up for grabs, really. I know Philly's got the best record, but there's so many good teams in the East. It's such a gauntlet to get through. We may have to get through Inter Miami at one point. Or Cincinnati or NYC or Columbus, who knows? It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But this Union team's been resilient, and Cornell seems to be pushing a lot of the right buttons. And we got some great leaders on this team. I know we're a young team, but we got some great leaders too, in Blake and Bedoya and Glesnes, Wagner. We got a great midfield, great defense. We got a couple strikers that are hungry. Baribo, we need to get Baribo going, especially for the playoffs. I expect Baribo to start here in the playoffs. He hasn't been starting lately because they've been liking the Ua Damiani, but I expect Baribo and Damiani to start up front here in the playoffs, with Iloski in there as well. But we'll see what he likes to go with, because I like Ua coming off the bench. It seems like he brings an energy and pace off the bench that defenders don't want to deal with, and he's scored some goals off the bench this year. So I like Ua coming off the bench. Baribo, I thought, was really good off the bench against Charlotte, but I like Baribo better as a starter. He gets in dangerous areas, and obviously he's our top goal scorer, so we want him on the field. It's Baribo. We want him to link up with guys like Vasilev and Danley and of course Iloski and Wagner. It'll be interesting to see who goes at right back. I assume it's going to be Harriel with Makania, Glesnes, Wagner on the backside. Obviously Danley and Lukic in the midfield, Blake and net, barring anything else. I think Vasilev may start in the midfield, but we'll see. Maybe he goes with Bedoya for the experience, or you just don't know. But we do have some depth now to this team after getting Iloski, even without Quinn Sullivan. I think the key is going to be the midfielders, though. Danley and Lukic. Can they shut down opposing teams? Can they cover a lot of ground like they usually do? Can they get involved in attack, especially Danley, going forward? They're box-to-box midfielders, especially Danley. We really need them to be the X factors in these games. We know what we're going to get from Kai Wagner, Andre Blake. Baribo is going to be a threat up there. Iloski. Our offense needs to finish chances, of course, but ultimately, the midfield and the defense is going to win you these championships. So you gotta stay sound defensively. Because again, if the Union had done that a few years ago, we would have been champions. We just switched off on one corner kick, and that was it. You got to be sound defensively and in the back, and that starts at the midfield too, and shutting things down and making sure guys don't get loose in the box or whatever, and they're covered. But Danley and Lukic both had brilliant seasons. Such a good midfield tandem, really complement each other well, and I want to see them bring that into playoffs, that intensity, and just get these guys ready. I want to see these guys sprinting right from the get-go of the playoff game tomorrow. I'm so excited to watch this game. It's playoff soccer. It's MLS playoffs always deliver. Last year I didn't really watch much because I was bummed out the Union didn't make it. Obviously we had a down year, and that was mainly due to ownership and how they handled the team, and that the players being sold, and none of it was on Jim Curtin, none of it was on the players they really did have. It was just mismanagement from the top, and I still think we need new ownership. Just because we're doing well, people have kind of forgotten about the fact that we want Sugarman to sell this team still. He's still not spending the money that other franchises are. Because imagine if he added another really big star player to this roster right now, with Iloski as well coming in. I mean, damn, we would be unstoppable then. That's what I'm waiting to see. Is Olofsky that guy that gets us over the top to win that cup? Is he that guy? You know, if not, then we still need to spend more money, and we're probably going to sell some players in the off season, knowing Sugarman. So it's just a blessing that we have a coach and players that continue to play above their weight, really, and perform above their weight. It's really a remarkable team. I mean, the fact that we do this with such a low payroll and we don't have those big star guys. There's some kind of pride in that too. I know, with the young players that we bring up and build up. But at the same time, to win, the major trophies like U.S. Open Cup, Leagues Cup, of course MLS Cup, you need those star quality players, because those make the difference in the end. But that's why our defense and midfield is such a key in the playoffs. That's why I'm saying, because we need to shut down those star players from other teams, give ourselves a chance for our team to grind in goals, because we sometimes need to create a lot of chances to score. So yeah, we can't just run up the field and get a chance and score and be set with that. That rarely happens for us. Other teams can do it because they have that star quality. But for us, we really need to grind in goals sometimes, and in the playoffs, that might be what happens in some games. Again, there's no ties, so if it's still tied at the end of regulation in these playoff series, we go straight to a penalty shootout, which I do not want to watch. I hate those. I wish they would go to some kind of overtime thing, at least before a shootout. I hate watching penalty shootouts. It's too nerve-wracking. Let's hope nothing comes to that. That's why we got to show that urgency to win the game in regulation and not be satisfied with a draw. Which, with Carnell, I don't think he'll have the team, even on a road playoff game, which potentially, all things considered, we only have to go on the road once in the postseason. That's it. We would only have one road playoff game, and that's in Chicago in this series. That's a guaranteed one. Even if it goes to a third game, obviously we go back to Philly. Other than that, we're at home. We're basically at home the entire playoffs. All the knockout rounds, Philly. So we play really well at home. That's got to give us the confidence and the boost. That crowd's going to be rocking, trust me. Nothing like playoff soccer in Subaru Park. That crowd brings it. They fill up the stadium, and it is loud. I can hear it when I'm watching on TV. They will be supporting that club, and if goals go in, I can't imagine. I mean, remember the Glesnes goal years ago against the Red Bulls? I think it was. My goodness, oh man, that place erupted. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I got a smile on my face right now because I can't wait. Let's go get that MLS Cup, Philly. Come on, let's do it. Great record, great accomplishment to win the Supporters Shield, but ultimately it's gonna mean nothing to this players and this franchise unless we win the big one. You have a great opportunity to host MLS Cup, to host these playoff games, to go deep in the playoffs. You have a deep squad. You have a quality squad. A lot of players that are hungry, players that are playing for each other, for the coach, for the city. It looks great. This might be Bedoya's last hurrah. It probably will be. I'd love to see Bedoya hoist that MLS Cup trophy, because he would probably retire if he wins it. Really would love to see that. I want to see Blake lift that trophy. I want to see Kai Wagner lift that trophy. I want to see some of our homegrowns lift that trophy. Guys like Harriel, Quinn Sullivan, guys that have been here, growing up with the club. Andrew Rick. That would mean a lot. That would mean a lot to see some of those homegrowns hoist that MLS Cup trophy up. But, again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I gotta focus on Chicago. Right now, it's about how do we shut down Kuipers? How do we shut down Brian Gutierrez? How do we shut down Zinkernagel? Chicago doesn't have the best defense. Even with Jack Elliott back there, their goalkeeping isn't as good as ours, and their defense isn't as good as ours. So we will have our chances against Chicago. We just have to take... We just can't get into a shootout with them. That's the thing. If it's a back and forth, goal here, goal there, we get into a shootout, that's what's going to make me nervous because Chicago has firepower. Chicago scored, let me see, I believe, is it a league high? Yeah, league high 68 goals. 68 goals as a team this season. That is, oh wait, no, second most in the league, sorry. Behind, of course, Miami. Miami put up 81 goals, holy crap. 81. I didn't even realize they had that many goals forwarded. So Miami had the best offense by a long shot, but Chicago was second with 68. Of course, we put up 57, which is decent. It's in the upper half. It's not like top 5 or anything, but it's a good offense. It's a sufficient. Our defense, of course, only gave up 35, but here's the kicker. Chicago gave up 60 goals. 60. That's almost twice as many as we did. So their defense is not great. They give up some of the most goals in the league at 60. The most goals given up in the league, I believe, was Sporting Kansas City. Yeah, Sporting Kansas City gave up 70. That's the most goals given up. The worst goal differential, though, went to DC United with a minus 36. Holy crap. Yeah, see, Chicago, they'll give us chances. Whether from open play, on set pieces, we'll get our chances. If we could put a goal or two in, it might sink them because they may drop their heads a bit. But again, they have the offense. They have the firepower. We just have to stay focused on shutting them down and play our game. Play our game. Pressure them into mistakes. Capitalize on those mistakes. We don't want to give up too many set pieces either, because Zinkernagel has a good delivery. They got players like Jack Elliott and Kuipers in the air, so we don't want to get into that game either, giving away set pieces in dangerous areas. So we got to be disciplined on the defensive side of the ball as well. We don't know how the ref's going to be either. Are they going to be card friendly? Are they going to be card happy? You know, and just keep throwing them out. We don't know. Are they going to let some stuff go? Which usually in the playoffs you want to let some stuff go, let them play a little bit more. Hopefully that's how it is. I hate when the refs try to take the intensity out of a game by calling every little thing and throwing around stupid yellow cards. That really ruins the mood of the game. It's the playoffs. You want to see that intensity as long as they keep it in check. So we'll see how that is. Yeah, tomorrow, guys. Again, incredible season for this team. They just have to continue it into the playoffs. That's all. That's all now. It's just to focus on these playoff games now. I'm excited to see what happens. Hoping for the best. I don't want to be making another podcast feeling depressed about the Union getting knocked out or anything. So, nothing more I want to celebrate than the Union winning a cup. Oh my gosh. I'm waiting 15 plus years for that. So we'll see. We shall see. But I think that's going to do it here, guys. Special little Zeroween edition. Hopefully there'll be plenty tricks and treats tomorrow by the Union to dish out a victory and win game 1 of the best of 3 series. But have a safe Halloween, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. And go Union. Until next time on the Doop podcast, 0 is the number.